You're listening to the B&H Photography Podcast. For over 40 years, B&H has been the professional source for photography, video, audio, and more. For your favorite gear, news, and reviews, visit us at bnh.com or download the B&H app to your iPhone or Android device. Now here's your host, Alan Weitz.
Greetings and welcome to the B&H Photography Podcast. Today we are privileged to have an opportunity to chat with Mick Rock, the man who over the course of the past 4 decades has photographed more music legends than anybody I can think of, starting with a young David Bowie back in 1972.
No, starting with Syd Barrett.
Oh.
In the beginning was Sid.
Yeah. Okay. Like there we are. In addition, other performers that our guest has photographed include Alicia Keys, Blondie, Brian Ferry, Daft Punk, Fat Joe, Iggy Pop,
Lana Del Rey.
And who else? Tell us.
Mark Ronson.
Joan Jett.
Pharrell.
Lady Gaga.
Karen O, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Lou Reed. Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
Queen.
Yes.
The Ramones.
Yes.
Rhymefest. Sex Pistols,
How do you
Snoop
know
Dogg,
about
Stooges.
Rhymefest, it's true, yeah.
Okay, see?
Everybody, I forgot.
We do our homework here. There's too many names to even list here. On a personal note, having come of age in the 60s, looking at Mick Rock's work is like viewing a visual soundtrack of my formative years. Mick Rock, thank you so much for inviting us to your home studio today.
I think you kind of muscled your way in.
We just knocked on the door, so we're selling subscriptions, and you invited us in, and here we are.
Yeah, you're a dodgy-looking bunch. I'm surprised I bought into it. Anyway, I'm happy to have you.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Contrary to the notion of a high amperage craziness within the music business, before going into a shoot session, you take time to practice yoga. You empty yourself, is how I've seen it written, by doing at least 10 minutes of headstands as part of your pre-shoot routine. When did this start and who turned you on to this?
I think the Times did. I've been doing yoga for over 40 years.
Okay.
Headstands for over 40 years. To me, it's completely linked with photography. It was a way of, massaging the third eye so that I could see more clearly.
I like when you term it as emptying yourself, and I get that. It's like then you open your eyes, and there you are with your subject.
Yeah, you're in the present.
Yeah. Now, you started off way back when it was a totally different world. You were basically just hanging out with these people when they were starting out, and there were no rules, and you guys basically made it up as you went. Did you have any clue as to what all of this would be leading up to?
Not a fucking clue. I mean, anybody that says they did is a liar.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, even some of the more ambitious folks on the scene, some of the musicians, was anybody at this point saying, hey, you know what, Bowie, for example, talk to me in 10 years, and then this is going to be the shit.
No, David was a very intuitive gentleman, and he was very in the present. Of course, I did a bunch of videos with him, including Life on Mars.
Yeah, yeah.
And David gave me, at the time, we made them, there was very little usage of them, but in the late 90s, he gave me the copyright to the visuals.
And the John
But
I'm
not
Only
that I
Dancing
made
video.
any John I'm Only Dancing, Gene Genie, Space Oddity.
Well, let me ask, we had Mick Rock, you had Mick Ronson at the same time. What's your memories of Mick Ronson, just out of
He
curiosity?
was a lovely guy.
Yeah.
No, he was a sweetie.
Yeah.
I know, there was the double Mick R's.
Yeah.
He was, they made a documentary about him recently too.
You too, yeah.
Yes, have you seen it?
The shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did your homework, but he didn't.
No, he did his homework.
I did.
He lived his homework.
Something I'm curious about. You, most everybody you dealt with is extremely creative in their own right. How much of your photographs were you or them, or was it always a collaborative between the two of you, or is that hard to answer?
It was all, it's very hard to gauge that. I think it obviously helped to have, you start out with Syd Barrett. Rory Gallagher I did 3 album covers for in the early days. Bowie, Iggy, Lou Reed, Queen.
And were there any of the record companies involved in your shoots at all?
No.
That you just did what you did and you turned it over to them? So
Obviously the bands were the acts.
Yeah.
And I showed them, when I could, I showed them what I was doing, but they all seemed to like what I was doing.
Can you talk a little bit about that transition from the UK to America? I mean, was it? I mean,
That was a gradual thing in the late 70s, early 80s. I kept running to and fro, but it was more fun in New York.
Is that what it was, basically?
Yeah.
What introduced you to New York in the first place? Who'd you come over with? Was it for a
Lou,
job?
I would come over to do some work with Lou. There's no doubt, and I saw some interesting stuff.
I bet.
We're hanging out with Lou. He knew politicians. He knew priests. He had the most amazing mixture of pals.
I'm just curious, did the priest confess to him? I'm just curious.
Probably.
And he wrote that song about it, I'm sure. And were there times in those years, let's say when you're hanging out, where you put the camera down, where someone said, hey, you know what, not now, or you said not now? And
Nobody normally said not now, but sometimes I did put the camera down.
yeah. And what brought you to put it down? I mean, other than being exhausted?
Tired.
Tired, yeah. Okay. Yeah, but there wasn't a moment that you can think of where you're like, you know what, I'm off the clock now, or this is not my work time, or this is not what I'm doing, and just, you know.
No, I never thought of it like work.
Yeah.
Wasn't like that.
What was your background in photography? Did you
None.
None.
No.
And your training as a photographer is? So what got you started? What made you pick up the
LSD.
camera? Oh, okay.
Entirely true.
All right. Sounds like a good
I
story.
was studying modern languages and literature at Cambridge University
Yeah.
in the late 60s. And I picked up a friend's camera on acid trip. And it wasn't that I suddenly wanted to be a photographer, as I got very excited about what was going on. And then some local band gave me £5. And I thought, wow.
You said, weren't you that guy with the camera on acid the other day? Come on over and shoot us.
I think it was through a friend, and they knew this band. I can still see the band, although I can't remember their name. And they just needed cheap pictures, and there I was.
Do you remember the camera? Or the kind of camera?
That was probably that Pentax.
35
Yeah.
35 million Pentax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always, in the earliest days, it was always 35. And then I graduated to my then wife's, what do you call it? What were they called? Not Nikon, but Nickel mats.
Oh, the Nicomats, the poor man's Nikon. Yes,
Yeah.
I've owned 3 of them. Great cameras. And synced at
I
125th.
never saw what the issue was. They were fine with me.
They were very good.
So
Most of my early 35mm pictures are taken on.
Now, you also shot Hasselblad also, if I'm
Well,
not
once
mistaken. right?
that, I think shooting Bowie in the late summer of 73 for the back of the Pin-Ups album, the saxophone shots.
Okay. Because I've seen stills of you with the Hasselblad in your hand. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. No, well, I did. I liked the Hasselblad. One, because of the control it gave. 2, because you could, get Polaroids.
Yes. Yeah.
You didn't, in those early days, there was no 35mm Polaroid, and I never, in fact, used one.
So you were able to figure out all the techniques of everything in photography just by trial and error and getting your film back
It
and seeing
wasn't
what was
complicated.
What even
still,
when
you need a starting
you go
point.
to the lighting, when you're lighting studio sessions and you're shooting with a medium
Well,
format?
mostly it's pretty, a couple of lights and bing, bang, move them around till you get what you want. It's not complicated. People who try to pretend it's complicated are just selling photo equipment.
Yeah, but if you tell everybody that it's really simple, you can't sell weekend seminars.
No, I understand that.
Have you found that out?
But it isn't. But the reality is it is not complicated.
So you say you try to, you connect. I mean, the connection with your subject is what it's all about for you. Is that fair to say?
course,
Right.
yeah.
And
And
Can you
having a
speak to-
pair of eyeballs.
yeah. And can you speak to when maybe that didn't work, when you were with somebody and there was
it
no
always
connection?
works.
Always
works.
Yeah.
Don't ask
is
me
it
why.
fair to say that the best photos are when the connection's the best and you work your way down from there? Or?
No, I mean, always varied, You couldn't really say that. I remember.
Any photos?
Mostly I could sense something as I went along.
Yeah.
But then I always sense something. That was me.
Do you find working digital, because you're digital now, do you find it a little bit easier to work this way? Is your camera less of an object between you and your subject now?
Because especially mostly I do setup stuff. So nowadays,
Okay.
and obviously I have a computer on the session, so I can see what I'm up to.
So you do a lot of what they call chimping on the way. You're watching what's going on as the picture's being built rather than just going out there and just grabbing stuff as...
No, I do some grabbing stuff, but I'll do that on my telephone.
Gotcha. Okay.
We were talking with Albert Watson the other day on the same subject and having to do with people looking over the shoulder at the screen and that he preferred the idea of the privacy of the image between him and the subject.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Back to look at it. Don't bother you?
No.
If you have 10 people looking at the monitor and...
That's their privilege.
Yeah.
I'm only interested in my opinion and the opinion of the subject. Mostly people don't interfere. I mean, if you want what Albert does, you go to Albert. You want what I do, you come to me. It's not complicated.
And have you had to learn over the years to how to kind of keep people away, or it's never really been an issue?
I never thought about it.
Yeah?
No.
It's kind of
Really. No, not that defensive-minded about this thing.
Yeah.
No, I understand why you asked the question.
Yeah.
But,
Well, maybe get back to that quick question I had before about that feeling you get when you're on a shooting with somebody. I mean, has there any shots that have become iconic that surprised you?
I don't know. There are pictures, because there were so many in the old days, they didn't surface till recently, and I'm happy to see them out there.
Yeah. Which of your photographs was the first one to get out there publicly, either on a poster or an album cover or something
Probably
where you looked
Sid
at?
Barrett.
Okay. And that was a record cover, or was it a magazine? Or
The Madcap Laughs, yeah.
Okay.
Album cover.
Album cover, okay.
Yeah, I did it very briefly under the aegis of hypnosis.
You were hypnotized.
You want to tell?
What?
I was just going to say.
You were hypnotized, or he was?
That's the name of a company, you silly bugger.
Under the aegis of hypnosis.
From the ages.
Okay.
They did a lot of Pink Floyd album covers, for one thing.
Well, some of your more famous album covers are for example, Transformer here in front of us, are concert shots.
They happen to be, although people would
or
take
maybe
a
the Iggy
while
Pop.
to realize it.
Yeah, that's
it's true
the
of the
point.
Raw Power album
And the
cover.
Iggy Pop. But
You know, they were shot back to back, same location.
no.
They were. I never believed it. I knew it was the same location. I always thought they were shot a week apart.
Back to back in what sense? Same night? Same show?
Same location.
Same location.
Successive nights.
Successive nights.
Yeah.
Do you remember the location?
Yeah, it was a cinema that was converted to a rock venue on Friday and Saturday night.
By the name of?
It was the King's Cross Cinema.
Ah.
It later got renamed La Scala, but it became more of a music venue.
Okay.
It's in King's Cross in London.
Cool. All right. And had you known Lou prior to that? You must have, because this is a couple albums. No?
No, not really. I knew him a little bit because I met him through David Bowie, because he was in England, so they could produce the album.
And what about, like, say, if you're doing you're getting hired for an album cover, and it's a setup, it's a studio setup. Do you approach that any different than you would a magazine shoot or any other kind of promotional work? Like, do you put more thought into it, more back-end thought possibly, or no?
I don't know that I do change my approach to it very much. I did for Gucci because they showed me drawings and they showed me basics.
This is an
of stuff.
advertising campaign that you're referring to, correct? Or?
I did it last year, a huge campaign.
Okay. All right, so you have to follow direction when you're getting into those kind of
You do really,
situations.
because you have the head designer there.
How did you feel about working under the? Because I get everything I'm getting from you right now is that you just work on your own, and whatever. If you like my stuff, fine. If you don't like it, that's fine too. But now you're into a much bigger game when you're dealing
Not
with
that
advertising.
I do it every day of my life.
No, but you did.
Albert probably does it more often.
However, when working in that situation where you really do have eyes on you, and people have very specific ideas about what they want, even though they hired you for what you do, did you find it hard to work under those kind of circumstances? And were they easy to deal with?
They're very nice people, and they paid me well.
That's okay. That was my next question. They paid you well and the check cleared. That's all okay, and it's all good.
Gucci is a serious organization.
What other commercial work have you done aside from Gucci?
I've done stuff with Nikon, Ray-Bans, a couple of other things. Not such a lot.
Now, did you like seek this work, or they sought you out?
I always sought me out.
Okay, and I get the impression that's pretty much the way your whole career has been, that you've just been doing your thing and shooting the right stuff and being able to sell what you're doing, which is a very unique situation to be in, I think, especially these days.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how other photographers work.
What about back in the day? Would you bump into another photographer at a concert or on location? Did you have a group of buddies, or were your buddies all musicians?
Not really.
Or?
I mean, my only real buddy, if you like, I knew a couple in London, is here in New York, Bob Gruen. Mm-hmm. He's a good mate of mine.
Yeah.
But then he, like me, waded through the trenches in the bad old days.
I heard you say once you're not an aggressive photographer, and is that something that it plays to your benefit? I mean, when you get around musicians and other people, artists who are they don't want that aggressiveness in their life. They're more like, you know what, just hang.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's not my nature. I mean, when I'm on points, I can move quite quickly and, zip, 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 but it's not really aggressive.
Yeah.
And I prefer to, let the situation organize itself. But
sometimes as a photographer, that's good. I mean, you let the scene form in front of you, and then you're there at the right moment. No.
Yeah, although of course, if you're going to shoot in a studio, you got to have all the elements. You got to plonk them in certain places so you can take the pictures.
And you have to make sure before everybody leaves that you actually got the picture you intended to get.
I always get it.
Ah, okay.
Did you ever lose a roll of film after you shot it?
No, I tell you what, many years ago, he was a new friend of mine at the time. There was a guy called Phil Linnett.
Yeah,
He had a band called Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, a band
Yeah,
called
I did
Thin
a lot
Lizzy.
of pictures of him back in the 70s, in fact. I like Phil. I remember going on a shoot with him. It was one of my very first shoots with the Hasselblad. When I took him to a lab to process, they said, you know what? You loaded the film the wrong way around. So, that was a lesson.
And the first few times at a Hasselblad, that's easy to do that, yes.
Not the first session I did, because that was the Bowie one with the saxophone, but it must have been, second or third. Don't ask me how it happened. Perhaps I was just nervous. I don't know why.
Yeah. And what about your archive? I mean, have you made a point of, do you store it in one place? Are you kind of on top of things? Or do you have someone handle it for
I'm
you?
on top of the heavy collections, like Bowie, like Sid, like Lou, like Debbie, like Iggy.
I imagine you have a lot of scanning you have to do, because everything you do back then was
I've been
film.
lucky that I've done a lot of books.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the book companies have paid for a lot. Yeah, I've done a decent amount of scanning too.
Now, are you doing any of this yourself? I know some photographers, like Albert Watson, only does his own printing. No one else prints his stuff. I know most photographers send it out. You send your stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not that bothered with the technical stuff. It doesn't really excite me.
So it's just that click. That's what I'm getting.
It's a zen moment.
That's
you know.
it. Yeah.
Can I ask you about Lindsay Kemp?
And
And
I
maybe-
knew there was a kind of gay element about this guy.
About me?
Yes.
All right, it's out.
Yes, Lindsay Kemp's a very good friend of mine.
I mean, he's a mentor to a lot of people from different walks of life, and I know Bowie, of course. Famously, they work together. So,
I got some of the only pictures of the two of them together, in fact.
and how
Yes.
was he an influence? How was he a mentor? What did he do to this group of folks, or what did he say, or how was he
Well,
around
the
the scene?
energy, the point of view. You got to remember, trotting around the way he did back in those days was pretty revolutionary. The fact that he would walk in the streets at times, dressed so outrageously. I think he gave David psychic and psychological permission to do what he did.
Interesting.
Because at the time, it looked pretty far out, I have to say. But that's what excited me about working with David, David was also a very smart man, a very intuitive man.
When you say you work with him, what was the relationship like? Were you hanging out outside of it, or was it always a kind of a work-first relationship?
No, not necessarily. You got to remember early on, I also often did interviews, another way of boosting the income. But Lindsay, he actually used to have classes in Covent Garden, I recall, that I would go to at times. He was just his presence. Somewhere I've got a tape of him and Jack on LSD talking about the most outrageous things.
Who was the other person?
Jack was the bald, blind guy that he worked with. You see in some of the pictures from back in the day.
We'll have to run those tapes.
Yeah, right. But he was
Must be amazing.
was he also in the John I'm Only Dancing video, or
Yes, there are specks of him in there.
okay, all right,
Yeah, that's true.
all right, interesting. Well, yeah, and he just passed away last year, as far
Yes,
as I know. Is that
he
true?
did,
Yeah,
not
and-
long ago.
Okay, all right, and I'm sorry for not knowing, but
all right.
when he passed away, was it well recognized, or is he somebody who's kind of
Well, it was in England more than
Yeah.
anywhere else.
yeah?
I don't think people over here registered too much.
No, not too much. I mean, I just do the Bowie stuff. Yeah.
So one of the questions I had was performers in general, especially the people that you were photographing, tend to be very amazingly creative. And I even asked you up front how many of these people just collaborate and would throw ideas at you. Anybody a disappointment that would be amazing on stage that you put them in front of the camera and they just turn into a bar of butter?
No, and I never approached it like that. I never was judgmental in any way. I just accepted. I mean, I was interested in their aura, but I wasn't there to judge whether they were going to be interesting or not. They were going to, if they're in front of my camera, they were going to be interesting,
Okay.
whether they wanted to be or not.
I like that.
And did you listen to everyone's music? The people you're photographing, were you into the music as well at the time? anyway?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, again, especially when I was younger, you got to remember we were all hanging out. We're all of the same age. Nowadays, well, I don't really hang out all night.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't really go on anymore.
Got to get back
The
on the ferry. Got
stimulants.
to get to the ferry on time, right? So
It's got nothing to do with the ferry. When I shoot, I always have a car.
Yeah, I'm sure. What are you listening to now? What's your?
It
do you like?
varies. I mean, I still like reggae. I love reggae.
Yeah.
It got me deep in my soul. Whether it's Bob Marley or Toots and the Maytals or Black Uhuru, or even Sinead O'Connor made a great reggae album.
We were just talking about her the other day with.
No, she's a super serious talent.
Yeah.
Super. I mean, I remember when Nothing Compares to You showed up. Many years later, I met the director, and I said, I like that. I liked how simple it was.
It was just her head. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you didn't need any more than that. It was a great song. I think it was a Prince song.
Prince song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody like I in looking through your stuff? We were talking about this earlier. We didn't see Prince in there. Is there anybody?
No, it's a shame. I think I was still too fucked up in those days. There was talk of it. My only real connection with Prince was he bought through a friend a Freddie Mercury shot, what I call laying on his new bed sheets. I call the purple Freddie shot. Purple, you know.
And
Okay, here you
anybody else that would fall into that category of somebody? Wow, you really wanted to shoot them and never had the opportunity, or
Yeah, you can't shoot them all.
that's for sure.
It's like the girls. You couldn't love them all. Certainly not nowadays.
I'd also read somewhere that you wish you had photographed John Lennon.
Well,
You met him, but you...
yeah, no, I didn't want to. Somehow, I didn't want to. Anyway, it turns out that was Bob's turf. You know, it's all right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
All right, good. I like that. Well, do you have a preference for black and white or color? Because you've done both. Neither one of them feels more fluid to you?
No, it depends. Sometimes nowadays, take a digital shot in color, and then I'd convert it to black and white, and I like it even better.
I do that also. Yes, I find that a lot of pictures. I'll just shoot color, and then every once in a while, I look and go, I think so.
I like a lot of old black and white movies because they're somehow more atmospheric. They're more surreal in a way.
Yes.
In fact, I've got a load over there. I'm working on a package for Hedwig. He's a friend of mine, and I did that famous original poster, and I've done recent work with him. But anyway, they decided, a company called Criterion, they wanted to do this special new package. So I've been dealing with that lately. But one thing they did was they gave me access to this amazing catalogue they have. And so a lot of like Bergman films or one of my favourite, Lift to the Scaffold, L'Ascenseur pour l'Échafaud, with Jean Moreau.
Miles Davis.
And
right?
a Miles Davis soundtrack, exactly. Great film.
Yeah, it's a
I
good one.
also got Sallow, but my wife won't watch it with me. So I have to.
Gotta get that acid back for that, right?
I'm going to have to get one of the cats.
What about working on the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Were you on set during the whole production? Or
No, I wasn't going to be there at fucking 8 in the morning.
Well, of course. So you showed up once a day and
I showed up when I wanted to, but I got all the special setups. The other photographer, they didn't allow anyone, was the unit photographer. And all his pictures are actually owned by Fox. Mine,
yours.
no one ever paid me a penny, and that was fine because I own them all.
Who invited you on the set? Who was the?
It was actually Jim Sharman, who was the director. He had directed, what was it called? Tooth of Crime, which is a play by Sam Shepard.
Okay.
I think it was originally put on in the East Village with Patti Smith in one of the two lead roles.
Oh.
But Richard O'Brien, who in fact wrote, well, he didn't, he did. He wrote the script for Rocky Horror and collaborated on the music. And they decided they wanted me, and I was like, the flavor of the moment, Mr. Glam rock photography.
Right,
The fact that I
single
worked
fit,
with David and Lou was enough.
Right.
So they invited me, but they never offered to pay me. But back in those days, I'd, shoot a squirrel.
Right.
I didn't really matter that.
This is getting a little off subject, but is Lou considered a glam rocker? I mean, would you guys say that?
He was like one of those
I wouldn't say that, but
forces. Well, he's part of it.
yeah, sure.
He's part of it.
I know I associate that term with him as well. I think he was one of the earliest.
Punk and glam.
Yeah.
And even Iggy was glammy that summer of '72 with the silver pants and the silver.
Speaking of glam, what about Mott the Hoople? That you did that album cover.
Ian's still a friend of mine, yeah. He's amazing. He's in his late 70s and he still goes out there. Because he was a bit older than everybody else. He wasn't, he'd had a real job and he had a kid and he lived in the real world. Whereas none of the rest of us had.
What kind of a song? You mentioned you just shot recently for Gucci. Who else are you working for these days? Who are some of the clients you're working with?
They tend to be individuals. There's a magazine called As If, big high-end one, owned by friends of mine. And, we're talking of shooting Benicio. I met him one night with them. I thought, wow.
So
Benicio del Toro, It tends to, things just pop up, I can't really explain it.
You're fortunate in the sense that, considering how many years you've been shooting, okay,
I can still stand.
you could still stand. Yes, okay.
What are you shooting now? I'm sorry. Did you say that already?
Canon
series.
5D Mark III you mentioned earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, still, okay.
Great camera.
Unlike, I'd say, 99% of the photographers that I know and I'm aware of, it seems like you've never had to take on an assignment that you really didn't want to do. It seems like
you'd be surprised.
Oh, okay. Fill us in. I mean, so there were times you went to pay the bills. You would still shoot whatever came your way.
Especially if you walked in. I'm talking really in the years when I could barely get dogs to piss on me. There was a time. And I remember this one lady who had plenty of money. She wanted to be a disco singer. I knew her somehow through my lawyer. And she came with cash. I did really good pictures of her. She wanted to look like a star. So I made her look like a star and I took the money. And that wasn't the only time, believe you me.
But you enjoyed yourself doing that too. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing is, you never had to take a job that you said, I'm just going to shoot this and just hold my nose until it's gone.
I never thought of it. If you're in front of my camera, I'm going to love you, baby.
Okay. That's the attitude to have, I guess. That's what's called survival.
Yeah, I don't. you can't really take pictures of people if you feel an antagonism towards them. I've always loved my subjects.
What are some of your warm-up techniques that you use for people? Does that really depend on who you're photographing?
No, I do power breathing. I would have already done a yoga workout and a meditation, and mostly nowadays I'll get a massage beforehand too.
Nice.
So when I show up, I'm primed.
Just like you before the show, Alan. So, but I think maybe following up on his question, what about what direction do you give to some of the people that are sitting for you?
That's actually what I was getting at, not necessarily your warm-up, but like to sit down, you just don't start taking pictures. I mean, what kind of games do you play or interchanges do you have?
I don't really play games. I think it's about stirring the energy. You just start the process and it just evolves. I'm not uptight about these things. For me, I go into a session, I'm going to have some fucking fun.
What if the other person isn't having fun and they're just giving you nothing? I mean,
no, they always have fun.
Like a magic
They
man.
don't have any option. No, I never found that kind of resistance.
And I mean, just kind of given what you're saying here, which is incredible in many ways. I mean, what do you think back on, or what do you attribute the success to? What do you attribute the fact that you can kind of say, hey, I'm not worried about it. It's going to work out. I show up. Things are good. I'm not going to chase this down too much. They'll come to me. What do you attribute it to? I mean, because, 99% of the people are going to say, that's not the way it works. I mean,
I don't know how it works with other people. I haven't got a clue. I don't know. I don't know how to attribute any of it.
But you must have thought about it at times and said,
but you've seen shots. You can see how crazy it evolved. It wasn't like, yes, I may say, keep your eyes on the prize. But
do you believe in luck?
It's not about luck. It's about, tapping into the moment. And if you're open to the moment in the right way, good things will happen.
It's a very Buddhist outlook.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because of all the yoga I've done.
Mm-hmm. Maybe so.
I would say that it's safe, I would imagine it's safe to assume that you sit back every once in a while and reflect on the fact that what you have been doing for the past few decades is a very unique thing that very few people have an opportunity to do, not just photographing celebrities and rock people, but finding a little niche that's very unique that only happens at one time. In other words, you could not be doing what you're doing if you started today because the world is different, the business is different, everything else. You were in the right place at the right time with the right chemistry.
It wasn't that I knew that I was. It just turned out that way. Yeah.
And here you are all this time later, and you have a body of work and a bunch of stories that very few people can match.
As it turns out. Yeah, I mean, none of it was by design. But you've seen shot, you can see, I have probably shot more still lives of cocaine than any other photographer.
When's that book coming out?
Rails.
And you can't snort it off a page. Well, you can snort it off of anything.
Would you still shoot? Do you still like to shoot a concert? Do you still get to concerts? Any interest? No.
What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? I mean, you're going to compete with like 1,000 other photographers. No point.
Also, they're so orchestrated now. Now it's actually a show that's repeatable, whereas when you were shooting back then, they were shows, but my guess is it was a lot looser and...
Yeah, and you could shoot the whole concert. Once they started in the 80s to start to restrict that, I wasn't interested. I mean, if you would pay me to do it and give me total access, that would be fine. But...
now they have 10 minutes of first two songs and everybody's out. That. It's crazy, yeah.
But you see, what they don't get is that if you're shooting a whole concert, you get to study a subject and see angles that work. See, you can keep probing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done that in years.
What would during a concert back, let's say this and whatever in the day, how much would you shoot? Would you shoot 3 rolls, 10 rolls, or?
You'd be amazed how much I could shoot.
Yeah. Bunch, yeah. Right.
It will vary.
Yeah.
Probably depending on how much
but you're a heavy shooter.
Subject turned me on.
Yeah, but heavy shooter. Cool. I asked you about that photo of Madonna. where she's going like this to her shoulder.
Yeah, I've got to find. There are more of them that are probably worth a bundle, and they would take them while she was still a dancer. 1980.
Do you remember the setting, the contest?
Yeah, it was my studio.
Oh, okay.
Bleecker Bob used to bring people that would go
from
to
the record store. Bleecker Bob. That
guy?
Okay.
I think he died, didn't he?
I don't know.
Wow.
I think so.
She had a totally different look in that picture.
Yeah, but she was totally ungroomed. I think that's what people like about it. Yeah. But I got to find the other few frames because, I know how well that shot does.
Mm-hmm. So when you say you got to find them, are they here somewhere? Are they in a?
I think it's in one of my storage spaces.
One of your storage spaces? Okay.
Yeah, so it's some work to find them.
You got to get someone on that, no?
I've got to get all kinds of stuff.
Okay, I hear you. And that Motley Crue in the bathtub, that's probably a pretty legendary... was that...
As it turns out...
a hotel room? Or how was that all set
No, it was
up?
in a big studio.
Oh, it was a studio? Okay.
In L.A. I also shot these pictures of them surrounded by all this glass and with these burning candles. But it turns out the dirt... That's when that really surfaced when they did the book, The Dirt. And there they are.
In the tub.
In the tub where they belong, naughty boy. I photographed them before they officially broke up too. And Nicky Six and I communicated.
That's cool.
He's like the brains behind Motley, the colonel.
Any photographers that you, other than Bob Gruen, who's
he's a mate.
Yeah, he's a mate. Anybody else that you whose work you like, whose work maybe when you're starting and looking at
they
stuff?
They tend
like
to be dead photographers.
Yeah.
I always liked Man Ray.
Yeah.
Because he was an artist. He could shoot straight photography and did to make a living, but he played around all the time.
Totally. Yeah.
So Man Ray, in retrospect, I was turned, because he has a museum in Berlin, and I got to visit it a few years ago, and I realized how good Helmut Newton was.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it wasn't just about all those rich tarts pouncing around in penthouses, because I thought, so fucking what, But when I saw all his other work, that was when I was really turned on.
His eye was exquisite. He had a way of composing a frame that I even if the picture you didn't like, it was composed beautifully, I found.
Yeah,
he had
a great intuitive sense.
Yes.
So. A guy called George Horrell.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
So I liked all the old Hollywood.
The glamour stuff of the 40s, 30s.
I once spent a few days on a 90-foot catch in the Caribbean on a boat, and all of the artwork on the walls were Horrell portraits originals.
Yeah, I knew the guy that, which would have been in the early 80s, that started to promote his work. And I met George.
Absolute stunning tonality and lighting. He was a master. Everybody imitates him now. He's like, when you think of Hollywood lighting, that was him.
There were a few other photographers from that period of time who, but George somehow got everyone's imagination later in life. He had a very fallow period too. And, but I remember he reading something, Horst was another guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I liked.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I remember reading somewhere in an interview, Horrell saying things kind of got going with him when he realized it was cool to act like a complete idiot behind the camera, because that allowed the people in front of the camera, it loosened them up, you know?
Yeah.
I thought, sounds a bit like me.
So maybe I can ask then now, as getting near the end of this, we lost Lou 3-4 years ago now. David,
5 or 6 years ago.
5 years ago now?
Sid's gone, Freddie's gone.
I mean,
David
gone, recently, Lou, I think, hit people pretty hard. I mean,
Phil Lynott.
Yeah.
These are all friends of mine.
And especially
Rory Gallagher.
Yeah.
I didn't see him later on in his life.
Yeah. And he's, he was a favorite of mine when I first started listening to some of these blues, and then.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, he was a great guitar player. Yeah. I guess my question is, especially with David passing, are you taking a new look at the work? I mean, are you doing it with a little bit of sense of, I don't know how to say, mortality? Any kind of thoughts on the subject?
I don't think so
or?
like that. I think I always approach them as human beings with respect. So, no, I mean, everybody dies.
That's the one guarantee we do have.
You also mentioned regarding Harrell that he had a fallow period too. Are you referring to yourself as the other? Who's two?
I've had a fallow period. Believe you me.
Okay.
Like especially leading up to my heart bypass surgery in 1996.
Okay.
But then I was still coking.
And now we're in a different chapter, obviously. And
clean as a whistle for 22 years.
Okay, so
if I want to get loaded, caffeine and marijuana. What do they call it? The hippie speedball.
That's a good place to end it right there.
And there you have it. Mick, it's been absolutely wonderful talking with you. Do you have any exhibits coming up or anything like that? Any shows, books?
Mexico City, actually a big Queen one, huge Queen one. I go down there on the 11th of March.
Okay.
There's a Bowie exhibition that was originally at the Museum of Pop in Seattle. I know it's going to 2 venues in China this year.
Is this all Mick Rock photos, or is this just a Bowie thing? Okay, because they had the Bowie thing in the Brooklyn Museum.
Yeah, I got a bit of stuff in that. What they were most excited about was the videos.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a lecture one night built around the videos.
The Bowie book was last year, right? Or a year before?
No, I think it's been out for 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years now? Okay.
Still sells.
Yeah. All right.
Beautifully produced book, which is the publishers.
That's great. What about Instagram?
The Real Mick Rock.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I have a friend, Norman Reedus, who's got about 7 million followers.
Another guest on our show.
That's the question
that
I wanted to
that
ask.
was the connection.
How did that?
I love Norman. We got to know each other and we got on. He's a lovely guy.
Yeah, he was a terrific guest. We had a ton of fun with him. Great
He
guy.
loves photography.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's a good photographer. I like
yes, he is indeed.
All right. Anyway, Mick Rock, thank you again so much for having us here in your home studio today. If you are not a subscriber to the B&H Photography Podcast, what are you waiting for? You can subscribe.
For God's sake.
For gosh sake. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, and Spotify. And you can always find this on the B&H Explorer website and the B&H Photography Podcast Facebook group page. And just tell them that Al sent you. And for now, on behalf of Jason, John, and myself, thank you so much for tuning in today.
In one plug.
Yes, please.
Shot, the documentary. You can not only see it on Netflix, you can see it on iTunes. There's several of those digital outlets, but that's still running a couple of years later, so must have 2 or 3 viewers a month,
There you have it. Okay. Mick, thank you so much again.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you.
I'm going to sit on the couch.
Okay, good.